Before the snow covered the old railway station, before the tracks disappeared into silence, Maylin had believed she was arriving to begin a new life. If this story touches your heart even a little, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because stories like this remind us that love often appears when we least expect it. The snow had been falling since dawn, quiet and patient, covering the forgotten station as if trying to erase it from the world. The wooden platform groaned under years of neglect, and the frozen tracks stretched endlessly into white emptiness. Maylin sat alone on a narrow bench beneath the broken roof, her shoulders hunched, her breath shallow. In her trembling hands were two folded letters, thin pieces of paper that had destroyed everything she believed in. Her gray dress, once meant for a wedding, clung to her body, soaked and torn, its hem dark with melting snow. Her bare feet rested on the frozen wood, so numb she could no longer tell where pain ended and cold began. She had crossed an ocean believing she would be someone's wife. The photograph she had been shown still haunted her. The man in a borrowed suit, standing stiffly, his eyes promising safety and stability. The broker's voice had been gentle, convincing, assuring her that this marriage would give her dignity, a home, a future. Maylin had left her village, with her mother's blessing and hope, stitched carefully into her coat. But hope was fragile. When she arrived, no one was waiting. No ring, no welcome, only a note delivered by a stranger who wouldn't meet her eyes, explaining that the man had changed his mind, that he had chosen someone else, that she was no longer needed. The second letter was colder, official, final. It stated the agency held no responsibility. Now that she had arrived, no refund, no shelter, no help. Maylin read it over and over, as if repetition might soften its cruelty, but the words remained the same. You are alone. She tried to find work, tried to explain herself in broken words. Some people stared, some whispered. Most turned away. By the time she reached the station, the last train had already left. Its whistle echoed in her chest like a goodbye she hadn't been ready to hear. She stayed because there was nowhere else to go. She didn't realize she was crying until a small voice cut through the silence. Why are you sitting in the snow? Maylin looked up. A little girl stood a few steps away, cheeks pink from the cold, boots dusted white. She couldn't have been more than 4 years old. Light brown hair was loosely tied back, and in her arms she held a worn teddy bear with one crooked ear. The child looked at Maylin not with fear or judgment, but curiosity. I'm waiting, Maylin said, though she didn't know for what. The girl tilted her head. Waiting makes people sad. You shouldn't be here alone, Maylin whispered. I'm not alone, the girl said, pointing behind her. My daddy's there. A tall man stood near the station post, long brown coat buttoned to his neck, hat shadowing his eyes. He watched closely, guarded, ready to intervene. His face carried the weight of responsibility and loss. I'm Clara, the girl said proudly. What's your name? Maylin. Clara hugged her teddy tighter. You look cold. I am. Clara frowned at Maylin's bare feet. You don't have shoes. I lost them, Maylin said quietly. After a moment, Clara held out the teddy bear. You can hold him. He helps when things hurt. Maylin's hands shook as she accepted it. No one had offered her comfort without conditions in a long time. The bear smelled of warmth and safety, and something inside her chest tightened. That night, the cold was cruel. The wind found every weakness in her dress, every crack in her resolve. Maylin wrapped herself tightly, wondering if her mother would still recognize her, wondering if leaving home had been the greatest mistake of her life. But when she closed her eyes, she saw Clara's smile. Morning came slowly. Clara returned just as promised, holding bread wrapped in cloth. Each day after that, she came again, sometimes with food, sometimes with stories, always with warmth. Clara talked about school, about missing her mother, about how quiet the house felt. Maylin listened, filling with something she thought had died. Clara's father watched from afar. His name was Thomas. He had learned not to trust easily, but he saw how Maylin never asked for anything, never overstepped, never disappeared. She simply stayed. Then one night a storm came screaming through the town. Thomas appeared at the station, panic written across his face. Clara was burning with fever. Maylin followed him without hesitation. She boiled water, cooled cloths, sang lullabies from her childhood. She stayed awake all night, whispering prayers she didn't know how to finish. By dawn, Clara's fever broke. You stayed, Clara murmured. Yes, Maylin whispered. Thomas finally asked, why would you do this for us? Because I know what it feels like to be left. From that moment, Maylin was no longer a stranger. Thomas offered her a room. The town whispered, judged, questioned. But Clara held Maylin's hand proudly, calling her my Maylin. At night, Maylin told Clara stories of distant mountains and brave girls. Clara listened, memorizing every word. One evening, tracing the lines in Maylin's hands, Clara asked softly, "Why don't you have a family?" "I did once." After a long pause, Clara leaned close and whispered the words that would change everything. "Can you be my mommy forever?" Maylin's heart shattered open. Tears fell freely. No one had ever wanted her like this. No one had chosen her. Thomas stood in the doorway listening. "If you want to stay," he said quietly, "you have a place here. Family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's who stays." Clara wrapped her arms around Maylin's neck, smiling. And in that moment, Maylin understood the truth. She hadn't crossed the ocean to be chosen. She crossed it to choose love. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that hope can appear in the coldest moments, subscribe to the channel now. More powerful, emotional stories like this are coming, and you won't want to miss them.